All right, so hi, this is Tom with Hidden Beats, and we are here with Alicia Moffet. You want to tell everyone about yourself a little bit?
Hey guys, so I'm Alicia Moffet. I'm a 23-year-old singer-songwriter from Montreal, Canada. There you go. Quick little intro.
Mm-hmm. So being a bilingual person, most of your music is in English. Is there a specific reason for that?
I don't know, it just always felt so much more natural to sing in English. My mom is an English teacher, so she always talked English with me. She spoke English with me, and the music she was listening to when I was young was English, so that's just where I naturally went to. Even though French is more comfortable talking for me, writing in French is just not it's just so much different. I'm not close to it since I'm in Quebec, and a lot of people are asking often, like, are you going to release any French songs anytime soon? I'm super open to it, and I probably will. It's just not natural yet.
When did music come into your life? Like how did that come about?
As far as I can remember, when I was like 4 or 5 years old, I didn't even know that you could sing as for a career. I didn't know a singer was a career. I didn't understand that, but that's still what I wanted to do. It's always been what I wanted to do, to be a singer, and music has always been a part of my life. So it just came naturally. There was no moment where I was like, I love music and I want to sing. It's always been there.
So there's no person you might have heard, for instance, that was like, oh man, I'd love to do something like that? Or
well, probably Celine Dion, because she's from Quebec like me, so she's always been like the icon I looked up to. When I was listening to her with my grandparents when I was young, I just remember watching the movies of her performances, and I was just like, yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. That's it.
No, that makes sense. I mean, there's usually a lot of inspiration you can get from stuff like that. So your music career took off with immense exposure from the Next Star and the Voice of Quebec. How were those experiences for you?
So they were two very different experiences. And I mean, I'm super grateful for both because they led to where I am today. But the first experience, the Next Star, was a lot more, everything was more staged, a lot more than what I thought it would be. And I remember going into The Voice after just telling myself that I would stick to what I wanted a lot more than how I did it in the Next Star. And it was when I went to The Voice, it was a lot less staged. It was more natural. I had more say and more choice in the songs, what I wore, what I said. But I feel like these two experiences really taught me to, how could I say it, to just stick to the artist I wanted to be. And now it's just, how could I say that? It's just impossible for me to, for example, sign with a label, for example, and be like, okay, they have control over my image. I just want to have control over my image and my art so much more now that I experience these experiences, which, like I said, I'm so grateful because they led to where I am today. But it's just now I don't want to give my image away to anyone. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
It made it so much more important to me.
What would you say your image is as a musician? What's your genre style, I guess, however you want to put it?
That's the type of question that I never know what to answer, because I feel like my genre is very large. I would say I'm a pop, alternative, R&B, but I what I listen to and what I perform is just so much different. I can listen to just some weird ass dance music, and Rez is my obsession, but it's so weird and just so far from what I perform. But my artist genre, yeah, I think it would go pop, R&B-ish, alternative, something in there.
Do you have something that nobody would expect on your playlist that you listen to yourself? I know you said everything.
I would say Rez. Rez is it just doesn't sound like, I don't know, I feel like people don't think I listen to that type of music, but I just love it so much. It's just so, I don't know, takes away the frustration. You just listen to it and you're like, fuck yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, I got a few.
The artists that were you like Rez? I love Rez.
No, that's cool. Like I listen to everything myself, and I'm the person, if it's a good song, then I like it. I don't care what
Yes,
genre it
I
is or
have
anything
like
like
a
that.
genre, or like I hardly have a favorite artist. I just go on like New Music Friday on like Spotify and Apple, and like just listen to the new songs and like the songs.
Yeah. My dog's making noises back here just in case you hear
No
something weird.
problem. I have to do over here, so I totally get that.
Yeah, he has to be in the room with me at times. So
My dog is just at my feet. I get
yeah.
it.
Okay, so I'm just looking at my notes here. What do you have any advice for younger people coming up now, especially after auditioning and the TV stuff? Like, what advice would you give someone coming up now?
I'd say my number one advice is and will always be, just before you go into anything, before you're going to a TV show, sign a contract, before you like lock yourself into anything, know the artist you are and want to be. Because if you don't know, they will know. They'll choose for you. So I feel like it's so important that you know your identity as an artist, as a person, just because, like I said, people will put a label on you. They will choose what type of artist you are if you don't know and you're not confident in what you think you are. So yeah, number one.
Were you
Keep
given any advice yourself coming up that kind of stuck with you?
That's the advice I would have gave myself. But at the same time, everything, I mean, everything happened and everything just led to where I am today, and it made sense. Looking back, I just remember when I was in the Next Star, The Voice, even like the last years before I released my album, I just had no idea what artist I was. Just, and still there, like you're asking me my genre, and I'm like, I don't know. It's just I'm so intuitive. I just write and what I feel like. And it just becomes a genre, but I don't know how to label it. But I still know the artist I am and want to be. I just don't know how to label it. You know what I mean?
Okay. How is your writing process? Like, do you just kind of say, I want to write about this topic today, or how do you come about your stuff?
Very natural. I have my producer who I write all of my songs with. He's his name is Bynan. He's in Montreal. We just go into the studio. We have studio days, and we just like start jamming on the piano, guitar, and then something comes up, and then I'm like, you know what? There's something going on. That's going on. I want to talk about that. And it just builds up and creates a song. And sometimes I go into the studio and I'm like, you know what? I have no fucking inspiration today whatsoever. I don't know what to talk about. And sometimes I'll have something I want to talk about, and then I'm just like, I don't know what to say anymore. And then we just cut it off. Then we're like, yeah, we'll meet in a couple days and we'll just do something else. There's so many songs that we started writing that just died off, and so many songs that just were written like 2 hours. It just depends on like my inspiration and my mood of the day, really.
Okay, yeah, so very organic and just kind of let things flow.
Very, I hate anything that's how could I say, it's when it's too like pushed and rushed, like too organized. It doesn't go off. I don't know. It doesn't work with me.
Yeah. So talking about your new single Lullaby, this one's more of an upbeat track. And
Yeah.
so my writer actually very specifically put down, inspires a sassier and dancing mood in listeners. So is there a story behind writing and coming up with a more energetic piece?
There is. I tend to go towards more downbeat songs, just more ballads, or songs that make you feel something. And I feel like I've always thought in my head that to make people feel something, it had to be a ballad. But that song, I feel like, is gonna become an anthem to so many people, just like in another way, just because people can relate. I think people will relate to that song a lot, just because we've all been fucked over by someone, or like, we've all been mad at someone, wanted to say just fuck you and you and you. But that song, the back end was just we had discussions with people for signing whatever, and some people just said to my manager like, oh, if you don't sign with us, you're never getting anywhere, basically. And I was just like, the fuck. And the day after I went to the studio, I told my producer, and I'm like, I really just want to write a song about this dick. Like, fuck off. And we wrote it so quickly because I had so much like anger that we just wrote it so fast, and it gave that song. And here we are.
It's a fun song. I did listen to it. I basically sent it off to my writer first and said, figure out, because I'm a more creative guy, like physically. I don't come up with good questions and stuff like that. So I have someone helping me with this.
I get it.
Yeah. So she said, here, listen to this. And I said, okay, sounds good to me. And it's a fun song. And yeah, I can hear that for sure.
Yeah. No, I think it's a really cool song. It's very different from anything I've done. I started, people heard it a little bit, like little bits and pieces, because I'm promoting it a little bit because it's releasing on Friday, and so many people are like, holy fuck, it's so good, and it's so different from what you've done. Some people are like, oh my god, that's very different from what you've done. But I feel like it makes people feel, I feel like it's gonna empower people a lot, and especially with the situation right now, COVID and everything, we're all over it. It's gonna feel good to sing it loud.
Yeah, I mean, I basically sit in this room all day, every day at this point. There's not much else for me to do, so I feel that.
Right? It's so crazy, but and in Ottawa and Quebec, Ontario and Quebec, we're in the like similar situation.
Oh yeah.
Same situation, but like when you go in Florida and whatever, it's just like it doesn't exist anymore. COVID is like gone.
Oh yeah, you can see how like there are 50,000 people concerts and things like that, and
right?
We're jealous. Yeah.
I'm so over it, man.
So with your debut album being out for over a year now, how does that feel, having that release under your belt and all the accolades with it?
It feels good. It's for sure. There's been not frustrations, but like I released it in the fucking pandemic, so like it's much different from if I released it in a not pandemic era, whatever. So I couldn't promote it as much as I would have liked to because I couldn't tour, I couldn't perform because no shows. But the streams are very like good. Overall, like 15 million streams. So that's a lot more than what I thought. I know people loved it so much, but to me, it's like, it's such a long time ago. It was like at the beginning of the pandemic. It's like another me. I'm over that album so much. I'm just so excited to release my new stuff that feels so much more like me. But I'm excited also. It's weird because the songs to me are just, like I said, I'm over it, but I never performed them because I couldn't. So it's like, I'm very excited to like for them to be reborn, if I could say, by performing them, people really seeing me perform them for the first time, even though I've been listening to the songs for like 2 years now. Yeah, so I'm over it, but I know people love the album and I'm excited to perform it.
Well, and that goes into my next point. You've been redoing and like re-recording some of them with like an acoustic feel.
Yeah.
Does that give it a new life for you, doing it that way?
Yeah, that definitely gave them a new life. Like I said, I tend to go more towards ballad acoustic songs just naturally because it makes me feel something more. So when I rewrote them with my producer in an acoustic version, I just fell in love again with the songs, and I know that some of them I will perform in that acoustic version because I love them even more in that way. So yeah, I wanted to give them a second life.
No, that's cool. I mean, I love a good acoustic song, and if you can make it completely different but the same feeling in a sense, it's always fun to have that.
Yeah, definitely. It's exactly what we wanted to do.
So I mean, we talked about the album and touring, and that COVID obviously screwed everything up. Do you have like tour plans that you are hoping to get to soon?
Yeah, well, if COVID wants to like go away now, I'm supposed to. I have my first big show at M Telus in Montreal. It's supposed to be February 23rd. So like, I don't think so. Don't think it's gonna happen. It's gonna be pushed, but like not canceled. Gladly. But then I have a couple festivals this summer, good big festivals that I'm really glad we booked and I'm excited for, if, like I said, COVID wants, if I can get out now. But yeah, we have a lot of performing plans this year in 2022 and 2023. we just need to see if we can, do it and perform for real. And we shall see what Kobe wants to do with me.
Well, hopefully you do get to do that, and we can probably catch one of your shows.
I've been waiting for that moment for so long to perform. Like, when you release an album, it's just so much work to finally perform. Performing, I feel like, is like the good part for every artist. It's like the part you look forward to. And I just could never get to the point because of COVID. It's so frustrating, but everything happens for a reason. So I guess it'll happen. It's fine.
Yeah, we were lucky enough to have a few shows, and then all of a sudden got cut off again here, and it was like, oh God.
Like there was shows for like the last months, but of course mine were scheduled when COVID came back.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be fine.
So my writer Beth, she wanted me to ask about your merch line. She says it's stunning.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Personally, I don't do merch because otherwise I'd have too much merch from everyone because
right.
Support everyone. But she wanted me to mention about the merch line. She says it's super high quality, reasonable price, and you put a lot of hard work into it. And not to mention your modeling, which you nailed. Oh. So I had to make sure to point that out.
Thank you. I like to do much more than just sing and write, because I feel like I do like here in Quebec, I do a bunch of contracts. I get with companies, not like I do campaigns with companies. And I really love that part of my job, like modeling and doing like TV shows, whatever. And that's another part that I really love, the like fashion part. So when I wanted to release my merch, it was so important to me that it wasn't just merch to like make money. And I didn't want it to look like that. I wasn't in my head. It wasn't just like, oh yeah, let's release merch so we just fucking make money and whatever. So it took like a year and a half to design the merch, because it's not merch. Like I didn't just like take a t-shirt and put my name on it or my face on it. We really like designed every pieces. It was thought through for a year and a half, and then we released it. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to release something super high quality for people to buy it and see it. High quality and low price, like good quality price. And I wanted people to buy it and just be like, okay, it's such a good quality for the price, rather than like, oh my God, I bought a fucking $100 t-shirt and it's shit when I put it in the washer. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And to gain people's trust by doing that. So I know people just really love the merch, and now we're gonna release some at every release. So Lullaby will have its own collection, and my other singles will too. So it's a cool side project.
Yeah, we actually just like Hidden Beats just released a clothing line also.
Oh, and really?
That was something that took me probably about a year, similar to you in the sense of figured out what I'm going to do. And I actually did all the designs myself. So I tried to really make it something extra.
Yeah.
And then one of the main components we have so I'm part Indigenous, and I did a line specifically for Indigenous designs, but it also goes to support charities too. So every sale I'm going to stuff to charity.
That's amazing. Amazing. That's what I love, is when people do projects, not just for the money part of it. I like when projects have like a meaning and just like a story, just like you said. I think that's great. It's really cool.
Mm-hmm, yeah, like I know the headaches of trying to come up with stuff, so I feel you on that for sure.
Yeah, especially when some people just and it's fine, like it's a way of doing, just like you take a t-shirt and you put your name on it and you make even more money, but I like to make things more complicated. I guess.
So next point I have here is your social media is a big part of your reach. You're very active and maintain your close relationship with your fans. Does it ever feel overwhelming to share so much with everyone?
It does. And now more than ever, I just announced my breakup with my boyfriend. And that was such a fucking headache in the past few weeks. It was so much. And usually I really have an amazing, I do have an amazing audience. But when I announced my breakup, it just like, it was so much. It was bad. And I don't get hate or whatever usually, but with that event, it kind of was overwhelming. So answering the question now, I'm like, yeah, it's fucking overwhelming. But usually it's not. I just know it was like a big event, so people like felt involved and whatever. But other than that, I'm very grateful for my audience because I have such a nice and respectful audience. No haters, no, like, I don't know. I really appreciate these people. Also, they're the reason why I can do what I do, and I really consider them a lot. Like I said with the merch, like I don't want to sell these people shit. Like I want them to trust me. You know what? I don't know. It's important to me. So yeah.
Well, yeah, it really speaks to not just being like a sellout almost. You're trying to actually develop something a little bit deeper.
Yeah, 100%. That's it.
And then, so next point my writer put is your little girl Billy is absolutely the cutest and clearly the love of your life. Is it difficult to balance being a mom with your career?
Is it what about? I didn't hear the first part of your question.
Difficult to balance that with your career?
Honestly, not really, because I really how could I say? I got used to it, and I have my little schedule now that like she's in daycare from like 9 to 4. So to me, it's like that time where she's in daycare, that's when I work. And when she's home, it's her. And it's my team understands that. Everyone around me knows that when I'm with Billy, it's like, don't try to make me do anything else. I'm with Billy. And she's an easy kid at the same time. And I feel like to me, it's supernatural being a mom. So it's just everything just fell into place and it's working out just fine.
And that's always nice when you can have that nice cohesiveness back and forth.
Yes. I mean, it's not always rainbows and butterflies. Like sometimes it's hard and difficult, and like I'll have like a music video recording, so I go to bed late in the morning. I'm like, oh my god, fuck my life. Like it's not always easy, definitely not. But it's the best thing ever to be a mom, so it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, kids are wonderful, and at some point I'll get there myself, but
no rush.
Hey, I figure if it happens, it happens. That's kind of what's going on.
Exactly, but there's honestly no rush. Like I had her, I was 21. I was very young, and I'm like, as much as she's the love of my life, I'm like, take it easy, guys. Just take it easy. There's no rush.
Well, I mean, I have a 13-year-old niece I kind of helped raise a bit too, and I'm like,
really? Wow.
This part's gonna be horrible once they get to the teenage years.
Oh my god, that's what I've been telling my mom. Like, I don't know how I'm gonna deal with a teenager. I was such a pain in the ass myself, so I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm glad I can leave and let my sister deal with that. So
you take the good part and then you leave, just like the grandparents. They give the kid back when they're annoying.
Fill them full of sugar and say, here you go.
There you go. Exactly what happens every time.
So do you have any new stuff kind of in the works coming out after the single? Or
a lot of stuff, more than ever now, because I feel like we've worked in the dark for the past year. 2021 was a lot of behind the scenes work, and now everything's coming out. So I have a song in January, in February, in March, an EP in March, and then the shows, and there's so much music coming out in 2022. It's the year of the releases, because like I said, it was behind the scenes work for the 2021 year. 2022 is everything comes to light. So a lot of things in work.
Is there one in particular you're really excited for?
Well, I think Lullaby, the one that's coming out on Friday, I'm very excited about that one. I've always thought it was a big one, but now I was just, before you called me, I was listening to my last version of my song that's coming out in February. It's like the mastered version, and I need to like review it. I was listening to it and I'm like, holy fuck, that's even a bigger one. So I'm very excited for this one also, but I mean, we'll see. I'm excited for all of the songs because like I said, they feel just much more like me, but that's just because they're more recent. I'm excited for all the songs.
And on top of that, it's always nice doing something you love and then seeing that final piece.
Yes.
And you're like, man, that worked out really well.
Exactly. Sometimes it feels like it just never ends, the behind the scenes work, like I said. But then when it comes to like, you're like, it was worth it. It's a lot of work, but then it's just so worth it when it comes out.
So with everything releasing, then what's your thoughts on the music industry right now with streaming and everything, especially being COVID there?
I I I don't have like a I'm super grateful for the streaming platforms. I know there's like a lot of controversial opinions about it, but at the same time, to me, it's just I discover so many artists on the streaming platforms that I would have never discovered if it was like still like CDs or whatever. I don't I'm super neutral. I'm like, the platforms are there, they're putting my music there out there. People are discovering me because of the platform. So I'm like, I'm good. I don't have like a bad feeling. I don't know. I'm neutral, like I said. No opinion really.
Did you get into any live streaming and stuff like that with music, or did you see any concerts that people were putting on?
Well, actually my album launch was a live stream. It was like on a platform called Yoop. Um I was the first artist to use the platform. Actually, it's like a platform where there were like screens, people could see you, you could see them. But I think like a lot of other companies came up with these type of uh platforms since that. But yeah, my launch was live stream. I listened to a bunch of live stream shows during COVID because I also wanted to encourage the artists that had to do that because there were no shows.
Mhm.
So yeah, I watched many during COVID.
Yeah, I got to take in a few, but too busy to do some things sometimes and catch them at
Like,
the right times.
there's a lot, a
Hmm.
lot of art doing some because I mean, what else is there to do right now?
Yeah. Do you have any dream collabs that you want to look into, like coming into a new year and everything?
Well, I have a lot of artists I look up to that I would love to collab with. I mean, Billie Eilish being the top one. I mean, long shot, but Khaled, Lewis Capaldi, so many artists that I love and look up to that I would love to collab with. Basically, all the artists I listen to, I would not refuse a collab with.
Okay. Well, I mean, hey, you never know. Billie Eilish can see something like this. I know
Imagine.
Universal Music likes to watch these when I do them, so
Well, then,
but
we never know. Hey, guys,
yeah.
we shall see.
Okay, well, I don't have much else for you. Is there any final notes you'd like to tell your fans?
No, I mean that wraps it around. Guys, go stream Lullaby that comes out in January 14th. First song in a year and a half, so I'm very excited to release it, and I hope people enjoy it, and I hope it makes them feel better about the fucking situation right now with COVID.
Yeah, good old COVID. I'm hoping
Good.
that disappears too. Like that,
Yeah.
I'm a little over it too.
I'm so over it, man. So over it.
Well, that'll wrap it up for me. And thank you for spending the time talking to me and wish you
Thank you so
success
much
on
for having me.
everything.
Pleasure. Thank you so
By all
much.
means, would love to have you back at some point. We can talk about your new stuff when it comes up.
Of course, definitely. Thank you so much.
All right, you have a good day.
Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Bye.